Today, I'm building both the original World Trade Center complex as well as the new World Trade Center complex in Minecraft. I started by making the outline of the Twin Towers, and then using that, I built the outlines for World Trade Center 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is because the complex didn't just consist of the Twin Towers, but also the surrounding buildings. I started to work on the inner courtyard, and I got somewhat of a design down, but I wasn't really happy with it, so I'd end up fixing that later on. The first building that I made was World Trade Center 7. This building is a sort of red and granite type color, and it sits off to the side of the main complex. For World Trade Center 4, 5, and 6, I started by making the outline and then designing one of the floors. As you can see, I actually did design a cubicle office building type interior, which I would then use for each of the floors. Not only is there just a decorative interior, it is possible to walk in and go through different flights of stairs to reach all the different floors. Using the first build, I was able to copy and paste different parts of it to build the next two buildings a bit quicker, but it still took a bit of time because I had to make sure that the interior did flow cohesively. Overall, I think the interior actually adds a lot of depth to the build, and it kind of gets a look that isn't really possible with just using a solid block behind the window. Next, I made World Trade Center 3, also known as the Marriott World Trade Center. This building was pretty simple, and I didn't include an interior for it. However, I did include the interior for the Twin Towers. I started construction first on the North Tower by working on the main lobby as well as the front entrance. I recreated the main lobby to the best of my ability using the limited photos I could find online. Next, I started work on the central core of the building with the elevator shafts as well as the main stairwells. Before finishing the main lobby, I decided to try to get a pattern down that I could repeat upwards throughout the rest of the building. Here, I was just trying to make sure that the stairs aligned with the floors and you'd actually be able to use them in-game. After that, I quickly finished the lobby along with the mezzanine as well. Next, I worked on the main office space of the Twin Towers. I didn't want to just repeat the same pattern up the entire building, so I added some variation as you go up the tower, meaning it isn't just going to be the same exact thing repeated 100 times. After finishing the stairwell, I was able to then finish the rest of the entire North Tower other than the antenna. Before I finished building the antenna, I decided to finish the South Tower roof. Here, using some photos and drone footage that I found online, I was able to make the main pedestrian area up top as well as the different roof details. I made sure to make this much better than my previous Twin Towers build, which I think I did successfully. After that, I worked on the main antenna of the North Tower along with other small roof details. Now, the only thing left was for me to fix the courtyard I had messed up earlier. I instead used polished granite to add details and a smooth stone based pattern. And with that, the entire World Trade Center complex is finished. I'm actually really happy with this, and I think it's one of my best builds to date. And if you are curious, here are some Minecraft to real life comparison photos with some of the pictures I used to actually design this build. Next, I started working on the new World Trade Center complex. I started by making the layout for each building along with the reflecting pools and memorial. The reflecting pools were pretty easy to make, and I made sure to add the lighting around the inside edges. After building the reflecting pools, I worked on the rest of the 9/11 Memorial. I used Google Earth to help with the layout and the 9/11 Museum building. Once I had textured the grass and the ground, I used the technique of tall grass and biome painting to make the trees I would then copy and paste around the memorial. After finishing the memorial, I quickly built the Perelman Performing Arts Center, which is this cool looking cube-shaped building off to the side. Next, I started building 4 World Trade Center, also known as 150 Greenwich Street. This is a 298 block tall skyscraper that houses the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I have a specific technique for glass building in skyscrapers. I think that this build actually turned out really well using that technique, even though the angle did give me a bit of trouble. Fun fact, this building has a square footage of 2.5 million and 4 square feet. It was so close to 2.5 million on the dot. Naturally, after finishing 4 World Trade Center, I moved on to building 3 World Trade Center. Overall, I like this building's design a bit more than 4 World Trade Center, and I had a lot more fun building it too. For this skyscraper, I also used a different color of glass. Instead of cyan on light blue, I used cyan on dark blue. This provides a subtle difference, but it makes it look much more accurate to the real life version of the building. After filling in the floors and getting the rest of the glass placed in, I built the balconies along with the rooftop. Next, I built the Oculus. The Oculus is home to a train station as well as dozens of different retailers. This was probably the most difficult build of this entire project due to its complicated nature. The build almost looks like a skeleton, which made it a pretty fun and interesting challenge to build in Minecraft. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I made sure to use stairs as well as slabs to smooth out the structure. Finally, I started to work on One World Trade Center or the Freedom Tower. Because this skyscraper is symmetrical, my strategy was to finish the base and then work on one corner of the rest of the build and then copy and paste it around. I initially started to go floor by floor, but then decided to switch to build the outline and then fill it in, which ended up being a lot quicker. Instead of having the build be see-through, I also added an inner core, or kind of like a mini version of it, just so you can't see all the way through it, but it still has the aspect of being able to see each individual floor, which makes it look a lot better. After that, I just had to work on the roof, which I then finished by building the spire. And with that, the new World Trade Center complex is finished. Now for a showcase of both the Twin Towers and One World Trade Center.